We're good to go. That's what they have. Please accept our apologies for the people out in virtual land for taking so long. So the City of Parksville recognizes the Coast Salish people and their traditional territories upon which we gather with gratitude. I'm calling the public meeting for Monday, February the 1st, 2021 to order and ask the corporate officer to introduce the public hearing process.
Thank you. So the Local Government Act requires a public hearing to be held before council adopts an amendment to the zoning bylaw or official community plan. Copies of the staff reports and related information respecting the subject amendment bylaw have been available for public examination on the city's website and at City Hall since December 8th, 2020. At this public hearing, all persons who believe their interest in property to be affected by the proposed bylaw shall be afforded an opportunity to be heard on matters contained within the bylaw. So due to provincial health orders related to COVID-19 pandemic, in-person attendance is currently not permitted. However, as per the notice published in accordance with legislative requirements, those who wish to participate in this process may do so by electronic means. The information on how to participate has been available on the city's website and at City Hall since January 14th, and it was published in the PQB News January 20th and 27th. The notice was also mailed to properties in accordance with the city's bylaws and provincial legislative requirements. Anyone wishing to be heard on the bylaw amendment must use the raise hand feature on Zoom when the mayor invites public input on the bylaw amendment. Staff will unmute you when it's your turn to speak. You may receive a prompt asking you if you wish to be unmuted. Accept this prompt before attempting to speak. When it is your turn, please provide your name and civic address. Council requests speakers restrict their presentations to the proposed bylaw. The purpose of the public hearing is for council to hear from interested persons in relation to the impact of the proposed bylaw on their property. Council's authority is limited to regulation or prohibition in relation to the use of land. Council does not have the authority to regulate in relation to the user of land. As such, council requests speakers restrict their presentations to the proposed bylaw and the uses permitted under that bylaw and refrain from any comments in relation to possible users of the subject property. Council will not tolerate inappropriate personal attacks or comments which are discriminatory or defamatory. The function of council today is to listen to public presentations and not engage in debate. Whether you're for or against the proposed bylaw, during the course of the public hearing, council would ask you not to display any outbursts as a courtesy to all present. Council wishes to ensure every speaker has a fair opportunity to be heard and the environment at the public hearing is a positive one, and that individuals do not feel uncomfortable or intimidated from expressing their views either in support of or in opposition to the proposed bylaw. Again, council will not tolerate comments or behavior that are intimidating or create a negative environment which deters people from speaking. No presentations or submissions will be received by council on the proposed bylaw after the motion for termination of the public hearing for the proposed bylaw has been adopted. There is one item on the public hearing agenda, Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2020 number 2000.130. The purpose of the proposed amendment is to create the Comprehensive Development Zone, CD30, intended to designate land for the purpose of accommodating tourist accommodations, high-density residential uses, and care uses, and to rezone the properties at 480 and 490 Island Highway West from the single-family residential 1 zone to the Comprehensive Development CD30 zone. As of noon, February 1st, 5 items of correspondence have been received in response to this application. One expresses concern regarding a loss of privacy due to height of the proposed development, as well as concerns about additional noise and fumes from increased traffic. One expresses opposition about increased development and population and the format of the public hearing due to the pandemic. One expresses opposition about the access of Finholm, lack of sidewalks, additional noise, and the impact on Marks Park. And 2 were in support of the rezoning.
Thank you, Mrs. Weeks. Good job. So to start this off, I'll invite anybody who would like to speak to use the raise hands function on Zoom and wait for staff to unmute them. Once it is their turn to speak, all speakers should give their name and civic address for the record. So I can't read that. All right, first one up is Robert. I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with reading it. So
It's Rob Perkinson.
Rob Ferguson. Okay. Rob, are you there? Did we unmute him?
Yep. Oh, there we go.
All right, let's come back to Rob and we'll go to the next one, which is
Rob, can you hear us?
seems like it's there. Is he on mute? Did we unmuted him? Sure, go ahead, please read it.
So unfortunately, we cannot hear Rob, but he has indicated in the chat that he just wants to say he's in agreement to the rezoning.
Thank you, Rob. Who do we have on the next? Do we have anybody else who wishes to raise their hand? They can put it in chat if that's what they want to do. Harvey Ash. Harvey, you're muted. No, Rob's over on the far side. Does he have to unmute on his end? Okay, Harvey, if you could unmute your down in the bottom left-hand corner. There it is. Showing.
So you can now hear me?
We can. Thank you, Harvey. Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm in objection to this change of the bylaw from what I see as two residents on this property compared to two four-story apartment buildings going in this area. The main reason that I am objecting is because on the property, it's an L-shaped property, and the part of the bottom L of the property goes right in front of my house. My house is located 243 North Finholm Street. And the proposal is that they're going to have all these something like 1,800 truckloads of earth moving underneath these two-story apartment blocks to accommodate the underground parking. And the Finholm Street is not capable of hosting all this construction and going on. Besides that, after the construction is done, now that's going to be supposedly the main access to these two four-story apartment buildings. which creates a tremendous amount of traffic in my area, which I never had before. And I can't understand why they would want to do that when they could, then their access on 480 and 490 Island Highway, which those apartment blocks are facing, it would be easy to put an access there. And also what I would suggest, if it's going to go ahead, is that L shape going toward my property, not have a street, not have an access there, but use that for parking RVs, boats, campers, visitors parking, etc. They could use it for that purpose and not have all this traffic going right in front of my house. Previous to another point was that we aren't seeing any wildlife anymore. We used to have deer on our property almost every day, and they're not coming on anymore. There was wild rabbits there, and I haven't seen them in a long time. And besides that, you know, the town really hasn't got the capability. Our sewage treatment plant stinks to high heaven, especially in the summertime, and they haven't done anything with that for years. Now, why would they keep on this major expansion of development here when we're not even treating that problem? Incidentally, the sign advising about this development was only placed in front of my property on approximately January the 15th, you know, a week or so ago. That's the first I've seen of this sign with this development change. And also, this development is going to have a huge detriment to Marks Nature Park, which has been a park for, before I moved into Parksville. I moved here in 1979, and it was a park then, designated to always be a park. Well, this development is just, you know, there's been many problems with that park, with you know, homeless moving in and making a mess there. Local people don't even want to walk their dog in there because of the feces mess, and it's and that's been a problem for a long time. And as I say, this has been this property up until now is designated just for 2 more residences on this property. And that's what we want to see. We want to treasure that, not all this massive building in our community. And it's just changed Parksville so much. And besides that, right behind my house there's a massive development there already. You know, something, it's got to be at least 15 acres or 20 acres in behind my place. You know, it's a huge area, and they're currently working on all that now. There's some problems in that as well. I used to have Mr. Stroink, and he came and
Harvey, excuse me, we're going to have to keep you on to the subject of the property that we're discussing, not the one beside your house.
I'm sorry, that's fine.
That's okay. Don't be sorry. I'm just advising.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, anyway, that's my major comments on this, that on this change of, you know, from 2 houses up to, you know, I know the city is hungry for tax revenue from this place, going from 2 houses up to I don't know how many in this 4-story apartment blocks. But we got to treasure. There's very little park area left. You know, there's very little park area left in Parksville, and it's all going to this kind of massive development. And it's, you know, it is. I've lived here 40 years, been the first one to pay my taxes all the time, and this shouldn't be allowed right in front of my door. You know,
Okay.
first, yeah.
I have to call it at this point in time. We've given you time for this. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Well, thank you very much for your input. Next person to raise their hand. hands raised. That's it for hands being raised. All right, for the second time, I'll invite anyone who would like to speak to raise their hand. And for the third and final time, I'm going to invite anyone who would like to speak to raise their hand. Pardon me? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Sure. And if you're having a problem with raising your hand, you can go on the chat function and we'll pick it up from there. We'll give you a couple more seconds to do that Sorry, this is our first go around at this too, so we're all learning this together. All right, I'm going to take it and I'm going to ask for a motion to receive correspondence for zoning and development amendment bylaw 2020 number 2000.130, that the correspondence regarding the proposed zoning and development amendment bylaw 2020 number 2000.130 be received. I need a move by Councillor Greer, seconded by Councillor Chandler. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. Come on. Okay, I need a motion to terminate the public hearing for zoning and development amendment bylaw 2020 number 2000.130. Moved by Councillor Greer, second by Councillor O'Brien. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you. Now, just for the public's information, once the public meeting is adjourned, council cannot entertain any further submissions or correspondence or conversation from the public on the proposed bylaw. At the conclusion of the public hearing, ask for a motion to adjourn. Do I have a mover and a second for adjournment? Councillor Chandler, and seconded by Councillor O'Brien. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes now so that we can get organized, hopefully for the second part of the agenda.